All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Rakakadash, the honest apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who rule well, and also taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect out there, pushing the truth and sincerity, and use your body as a living sacrifice, as the scriptures say. Shalom, shalom. And this is fair use. Fair use. Fair use act. This is for teaching. This is for scholarly. This is for prophecy. Okay, and we're going to start with the AI overview of a sonic weapon. A sonic weapon uses powerful sound wave to injure, disorient, or incapacitate people or damage objects, ranging from non-lethal crowd control devices like LRADs, long-range acoustic devices that emit painful focused sound, to more dangerous weapons using infrasound below hearing or ultrasound above hearing to cause nausea, balance issues, or even internal damage. These weapons can be used for communication, deterrence, or as area denial tools, with effects varying from temporary discomfort to potential permanent harm, and they exist as both real-world military police tech and concepts in development. Okay? So this is not a myth, This is not a theory, but this is an actual fact, right? Okay, so did a mysterious sonic weapon help U.S. forces overpower Maduro's guards? And the information keeps coming out a little bit more every day on exactly how they went about to capture Maduro. Remember, they used a very small force, with a very small number of men to go in and capture the president, who was surrounded and guarded by thousands of troops. You got some articles out there that'll tell you that a few men killed hundreds, killed and wounded hundreds of men. Okay, it says when soldiers describe a weapon they can't explain, the story gets louder. Following the U.S. operation that resulted in the capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, social media has been flooded with claims that American special forces used a mysterious sonic weapon to incapacitate defending security forces. The allegation centered on a video interview circulated widely online in which an unidentified Venezuelan guard describes an overwhelming force that left him and others bleeding, disoriented, and unable to move, right? So the reason I'm going over this is because not too long ago, remember the method of revelation. Not too long ago, Esau just released the final season of Stranger Things on Netflix. And in Stranger Things, 11 was disorientated and incapacitated with a sonic weapon, right? Same as we read here in this article, right? And there's a saying that says the truth is stranger than fiction, And Wisdom of Solomon, what I was gonna say, 5:1, the strangeness of their salvation. So the truth is more stranger than fiction, right? And that's all predictive programming, right? And another word for that is method of the revelation, right? Okay, this is in Stranger Things season 5. The military introduces the hedgehog, a conical sonic weapon that emits target sound waves to incapacitate psychic psychic individuals like 11 acting as her kryptonite. By disrupting her powers, tying it into the series' recurring theme of music and sound as a weapon against the Upside Down. This device, named as an Easter egg for Sonic the Hedgehog, uses force acoustic energy mirroring real world acoustic weapons, right? And these devils, you know, they're being exposed and revealed, man. They're witchcrafts, man. It is being exposed and revealed. Yahweh Shah has uncovered the veil on these demons. Remember he said, then shall that I think Apostle Paul said that, then shall the man of sin be revealed, right? And he's being revealed in our time. There's another scripture that say, uncover the leg and make bare the thigh. Meaning that this devil is going to be exposed, man. So here it is. It says Stranger Things season 5 has already been released in volumes on Netflix, with the first 4 episodes, volume 1, on November 26, 2025. And that was their pagan holiday, Thanksgiving. 3 more, volume 2, on December 25th, right, which goes into their winter solstice. And the final series, episode 8, dropping on December 31st at 8 p.m., right? So they do everything in threes, man. We're not ignorant to Satan's devices. That's why he dropped this series in threes. And then what you got, December 31st, so January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd, right? 3 days later, January 3rd, 2026, Nicolas Maduro was captured, right, by U.S. Special Forces. There's too many similarities, man. That's a psyop on the people, man. Predictive programming. Heligian dialect. That's exactly what it is. It says U.S. Special Forces on January 3rd, 2026, during a military operation in Caracas, Venezuela, and transported to the United States to face federal charges, making a significant event in U.S. Venezuelan relations. And look, this man is not slick, man. He's doing this because he's getting weak. Esau is getting weak, man. That's why he's going into the madman. They say he shall be like a madman, sparing none. Because he know his time is up. He Salakia. Following the U.S. operation that resulted in the capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, social media has been flooded with claims that American Special Forces used the mysterious sonic weapon to incapacitate defending security forces. Right? All right, so I'm going to read it again. The allegations center on an interview circulating widely online in which an unidentified Venezuelan guard described an overwhelming force that left him and others bleeding, disorientated, and unable to move. The rumor gained significant traction after White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt reshared it, urging followers to read it. The interviewee claims that an intense sound-like effect caused severe physical distress, including nosebleeds and vomiting. And they tested it out over there because they eventually are going to test it use it on the American people. Remember, what was the spokesperson for ICE? What she say? One of ours, all of yours. Which goes back to, to the Nazis. It also goes back to a saying from I believe the Spanish Independence War around the 1940s. You know, you could go into that though. That's a fascist statement. You know, you kill one of ours, we're gonna kill a lot of yours, right? And they just showed you that in Venezuela. You know how they were able to sweep in, grab a man and his wife out of a heavily guarded country. Man, them people were on high alert. You know, but what they met, they wasn't ready for. You know, same with Esau when Yahweh shall crack the skies with the chariots and the angels. He ain't gonna be ready for what's coming for him, right? So let me go to YouTube real quick, play this clip. And this is fair use. This is fair use, you know, because they like to take our videos down. Let me fast forward just a little bit.
Anything else?
Hey! You might like it. Hmm?
Look at the spirit. Somebody commented, USA used this sonic weapon recently on Venezuela. See, even the people see, man. You know? See how that weapon got her disoriented and bleeding out of the nostrils. Now, granted, when she uses her power, she does bleed out of the nostril, but this bleeding is from the sonic weapon.
I take a leak, and you guys take 5.
You heard the man.
Get on the hedgehog.
You ain't gotta play no more. You saw the hedgehog, you know, which is, like they said, an Easter egg for Sonic, you know, sonic weapon, right? So let me get the scripture. Okay, this is Isaiah 47:10. For thou hast trusted in, no, start at 8. Therefore, now hear this, thou art given to pleasures that dwellest carelessly, that saying in thy heart, I am, and none beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children, you know. And that's going into you know, Babylon, you know, the virgin daughter of Babylon, which is America. And why is she a virgin? Because she's never had foreign occupation, right? When they go to war in other places, other countries, right? Remember the guy Zelensky told Trump in the White House, he said, you have a whole ocean protecting you, right? But see, that ocean protecting them, it's nothing anymore. You know, there are hypersonic missiles now. You know, they can travel from Russia to New York, I believe in under an hour, under 45 minutes at that. I think about 27 to 30 minutes. You know, but you look it up. Don't take my word for it. You know, look it up yourself. It says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitudes of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thy enchantments. Right. And that's why they call it Hollywood, you know, because the Druids used to make they wands, their magic wands from the holly tree, you know. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge it had perverted thee, and thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. Right? Because Esau got a godlike complex. And we're talking about, and I'm talking about the top wicked elites. You know, not your everyday Edomite, because they ain't in control of shit. They in subjection just like we are. You know, this speaking on the Rockefellers, the Oppenheimers, the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, you know, those elite families, the ones who run the entire world, you know. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it rises, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now with thy enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, if so be thou should be able to profit, but if so be thou mayest prevail. You know, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsel. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Right. Their sorcery, their magic is not going to be able to save them when Yahweh hits the scene, man. You know, because we're in Jacob's trouble without a shadow of a doubt. You know, but it's going to end up being Esau's trouble. You understand? That's what's happening. And it's happening real time. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm it, nor fire to sit before it. Right. Because they are trusted in a witchcraft and a sorcery, man. You know, and their time is up. You know, Esau don't have no covering, man. He's being completely exposed. You know. So with that, I pray you were edified. And until next time, shalom to the elect. Kwam Yasharallah.